Virginia down to Tennessee. I'll be moving with the good Lord's speed.
I'm back, and this is my gorgeous daughter Valerie. Valerie, who lives in Utah. So I have left California, and I am now in Utah. Back to our regular schedule.
I'm Claudia, and 2 years ago I found myself at a fork in the road, not only literally, but in my life. I chose the road less traveled and felt in love with freedom, so much so that I am currently renovating my tiny home on wheels so I can live as a nomad while I discover what I'm truly made of.
I'm back, and I'm ready to share so much that I have done in the last few weeks. As you can tell, I'm not done, but I have done a few beautiful things, and I want to share all of it with you. As you may notice, a few things have changed around here. One of them being my gray coming out. I think it's looking pretty good. I wish it was longer, have wide strands or long hair. Anyhow, on my last video, I shared with you pretty much my bouncing around from parking to parking. Today, I want to share with you what has happened in the last few weeks and what I have done. I want to take you on a little hike to show you how pretty it is around here and tell you about all the stuff that I've been doing. Cold outside, is pretty, it's sunny, but it's cold. However, I grew up in Patagonia, so this should be easy peasy, right? But I got spoiled living in California for so many years. One of the reasons I wanted to come out and show you a little bit is because I heard that it's gonna start snowing pretty soon. There won't be many opportunities to just take a simple hike on a sunny day. It feels so nice and fresh. This is the Slate Canyon Park, and we're gonna take a little bit of the Bonneville trailhead. The reason why I left California sooner than I was planning is because my daddy that lives here in Utah wanted to spend the holidays with me. And how could I say no to that? Whenever your kid wants to spend time with you, you just go there, right? And you do whatever it takes to prepare and to be there with your children. So that's what I did. I finished whatever was most important, thinking I can do the rest on the road. One of the first things I needed to do was to reconnect myself to water again. I have been without water for months. And the reason for that is because I needed to figure out my countertops, what kind of countertops I was going to have in order to figure out the plumbing after that. What I really wanted was to have white quartz or any white stone, but I couldn't find anyone that would sell me just a remnant. They were only selling by the slab, and obviously I did not need a slab, and I couldn't find any leftover pieces in any of the places I went to look for the perfect countertop. I could not find it as a stone. I started to look for alternatives to the countertop. I didn't want any laminate or any cheap kind of countertop. I wanted something more unique and with more character. My next alternative was to find wood. I went looking for a slab of wood. I'm getting warm. I found a slab of wood that it was almost the perfect size. And believe it or not, I managed to fit the whole thing into the Mini. You would have fun watching me put it in there. But now I had no idea that it was so difficult to bend saw or split a slab of wood. So I called around, and finally I found a mill that was able to do most of it, at least the most important parts. And then the next challenge was to figure it out, now what kind of finish do I want for my countertops? After I figured out the countertops, I was able to figure out my new plumbing. And I found a different piece that replaces the P-trap because it's more efficient and it also saves some space under the sink. So then I had countertops, my plumbing, I was finally reconnected to water. Wow, it's unbelievable how grateful I was feeling to have some amenities back into my life. And below me, down there, there's some ruins. I was here the other day and then I went home and did a little bit of research. And these are ovens that were used by miners. And now I think they're used by homeless because it does smell like burnt inside. And some people come here and smash pumpkins, smoke funny things, have funny times. It definitely does look like a party site, doesn't it? And to think that many years ago, people were working really hard here. After having my water connected, countertops, bed, I had a huge mess and I had a lot to pack. Oh boy, do I regret having so much clothes. I packed as much as I could. I picked the clothes that I liked the best because I was leaving for an undetermined amount of time. I don't know what's gonna happen during this new life, this nomadic life. I don't know how long I'm gonna last. All that I know is that I wanna travel through the country and visit all the states. But things will happen in the middle because that is life. And as a nomad, I need to not fool myself and be prepared for the worst. So after I had the most important things ready in order for me to finish the rest on the road, I got to think about my tote. I usually hold a scooter on a rack, and that's my secondary way of mobilizing if I need to, if something happens to the Mini. And I also use it to tour towns and just have a good time. It's so fun to ride the scooter. However, while I visit my children, and especially my son, as you may know, he has Down syndrome, I'm not gonna be riding him on the scooter in the winter here in Utah. It's dangerous, and it's not just cold, but it's dangerous, and I would not want to expose him to that. So then I started to think also the fact that I'm leaving my car behind. I love my car, but I was going to leave it in my garage for who knows how long, paying a lease registration. So then I put all of that together. I'm like, maybe I need to change my tote, because I couldn't tow my car. You know, not every car is towable. That's another thing that I learned doing this. Yeah, so I started, giving myself more work of things that I don't know how to do. I never towed before. And now I want to tow a car. I think I'm at the end of my trailhead here. And I got lost again.
Be okay. I hope so. I hope so. 'Cause we've all seen better days. Fought this war a million ways. Can we skip the part where I fall?
So, as many of you know, a Jeep is the best car to tow. But, as you also know, this is not a buyer's market, it's a seller's market. And it's very difficult to find not just a decent deal, but a Jeep. Very hard to find a Jeep. I went to so many places, and then I decided, you know what? I don't want to deal with a car dealer. I want to buy it from an owner. So then I started looking, sell by owner. I think I need to keep going that way. So that's where I was, that's where I came from. Up there on the hills, and somehow I ended up here. I have to backtrack a little bit. Remember I told you about my little scooter. That was my first scooter, and I loved that thing. It was so fun, but that's the one I learned to ride on. Once I learned to ride the scooter, then it felt a little bit too slow. Then I started looking for a faster scooter, and I found a Zuma 125, and oh boy, was that thing fun. I loved it even more than my first scooter. It felt so good. I even learned to put it on the ramp like people with motorcycles do, but it still offered the same challenge as the other scooter if I wanted to, let's say, take my son on rides during the winter here in Utah. And thinking all of that, the scooter is not convenient or safe to ride in any winter. I'm leaving my car in the garage for maybe a couple years, who knows how long, paying registration but without using it. And then I'm like, maybe I should tow. And that's when I started thinking about what to tow. And as we know, a Jeep is the best vehicle to tow. And after a long time looking, I found one that fit most of what I was looking for, which in this market is not a buyer's market. However, since it is a seller's market and I had two vehicles to sell, my car and my scooter, that wasn't so hard to do. And I sold my car really fast. And a couple days later, I sold my Zuma with a lot of regret. I hope I don't sell the Zuma. The Jeep that I found has some modifications. First, it's lifted and it has an aftermarket bumper. And because of it, I couldn't just put any tow bar. So I got me a Jeep. No, not that one. That one over there. That's my new baby, guys. I think my battery is dying, but before I go, I want to tell you that I have never towed. I had to outfit the Jeep because it has an aftermarket bumper, so I couldn't put just any tow bar. And the people I ordered from who did the job, first they ordered the wrong. I'm gonna finish the video here because my camera died. So anyway, my Jeep was ready for me to practice towing the afternoon before the day I left. So the only practice that I had, it was driving around the block, and that was it. So don't call me brave, call me crazy. However, I wouldn't put myself or anyone else at risk. So I did have the tow bar, the lighting, and the brake system for the Jeep professional installed. I didn't do it myself. I would not do that because I need to make sure that I am safe on the road and the people behind me and around me are safe as well. So I have almost 700 miles of towing experience under my belt. And I definitely want to talk about that because there's so much that is not sure about driving a high-profile vehicle, towing, and other cars. Anyway, the main purpose of this video is to reconnect with you and get myself on my regular schedule again of sharing my new nomadic lifestyle. It doesn't feel that new anymore. I feel that I have been around the block a few times. I'm super happy, but it hasn't been happy all the time. I also have been very anxious, and sometimes have woken up with panic. I don't know where it's coming from. I think it's the realization that I have left my foundation. As much as I complained about being in the city, I have been in California most of my life here in the United States, and leaving it behind, it was not easy. Anyway, I am reconnected now, and I cannot wait to share so much that I've done and that I have learned. Thank you for watching. Until the next one. Ciao. Mwah.
Be okay.